3, 2, 1.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Yin Yang Zing. Patrick's back, and I'm here with Josh today. He's behind the cameras today, and we're here with my Dark World deck profile. So we're gonna jump right in, have a lot of fun.
No one likes Grapha.
Grapha's great. Speaking of Grapha, you run 3. Grapha is the boss monster of the deck. It is the most recyclable boss monster in the game. It's just constantly on the field. It's so good. It's a great 3 of it. When it's pitched from the hand to the graveyard by a card effect, when it's discarded, it destroys a card. So
yeah,
it's awesome.
You build your board, and then he just takes out that one card that you don't want him to take out, and he just ends up doing it.
Just cause. Then 3 Snow. It's a searcher. It extends your plays a lot. Snow is just, it's great in the it's a Dark World monster, but it'll search Snow, it'll search Grapha, it'll search Gates, any Dark World card. So
since we're on the subject of Snow, he's probably one of the only Dark World cards that haven't had an errata here lately. Correct?
I don't think any of them have really had an errata. It's just like Dark World isn't super. It's hard to make it super consistent, and it doesn't compete well at high levels. Like Zoo, it's hard to compete against, but there's ways to get around it. And
you've had problems with my dinos with it.
It has some issues with power. Like it's gotta either go or it's dead, and there's got some consistency issues. But to help with those consistency issues, we have 3 Brow, the Huntsman of Dark World. Yeah. It's part of your draw engine. The draw engine in this deck is ridiculous. I have actually decked myself just as like a funsies game.
I think last time we played this, we went +4.
Yeah, I mean
+4 on one card. Which I mean, when you do a plus on any card, I mean that's good.
But I mean, this guy just replaces himself, and if you play it the right way, it's great. So I play a weird package for the last couple of Dark World monsters. I run 2 Beige and 1 Lucent. Beige is a 1600 beater, so it's easy to summon, but when it's discarded, it special summons itself, and that allows you to summon Grapha by bouncing it back to your hand. And then if you play a card like one of the cards I'm going to show you later, it'll resummon itself. It gives you more level 8s on board. It's really strong. Lucent also has the same effect. And most Dark World monsters have a secondary effect, and it's important to know them. And I do know them, but once somebody sees you're playing Dark World, they take out anything that makes you discard cards. Because they don't want you to get those super powerful effects.
Yep.
Next up is 2 Malefic Stardust Dragon. It gives you level 8s, because you play quite a few rank 8s to go into some really wonky plays.
Really busted plays.
It's so fun.
Oh my god.
And we'll get into those with the extra deck. And because the boss monster Grapha is so recyclable, it's just great. This is your extender. This makes bad hands kind of more usable. Train's Archfiend lets you discard a fiend monster, a dark monster from your hand to give it 500 more attack. That allows you to start moving the game forward. With a 1500 body, it isn't bad. And you can run rank 4s in it. I don't really have room, but you can run rank 4s, and you can discard a Beige and go into rank 4 plays too. So if you want to run a different kind of variant, Train's Archfiend's a must for the rank 4 variant stuff.
This is just a random thing, but Break Sword.
And
just think how bad that would be in this.
Yeah. And then the last card is 2 Fiendish Rhino Warrior. So this card's really mean, because what you can do is you can Foolish Burial this, and you can pull Grapha out of the deck, and now you have Grapha live, and you have your Gates of the Dark World, which is the next card I'm going to be showing you. It gives those cards their effects live. It really extends.
We talked for a while about you adding a 3rd one, and then you just said no, because it was just, you hate seeing it so early in the game. You like seeing it kind of mid-game.
Like, I want to see it, and that's why I run 2, but I don't want to run 1 and then open with it and not have one in the deck. Like, it's better in the deck because it allows you to pull 2. It makes Foolish Burial double foolish, which is great. Then now into spells, that's all the monsters.
How many monsters?
I'm not sure exactly, but
probably about 20, 22 monsters.
Less than that. It's probably about 18. 3 Gates of the Dark World. This is amazing. So you discard a fiend and banish a fiend from your graveyard and draw a card. Now, that sounds bad, but the effect of discarding a card is important. It's not a cost. It is an activation. So it is not a cost. So you discard a fiend. So you banish a card, that's the activation cost. You discard a card, that is the effect, and draw a card. That is also part of the effect. So you can use Grapha's effect to discard, pop a card, banish another card like your Fiendish Rhino Warrior because it's useless, and then you draw a card. So you've drawn into your deck and you've popped a card and you've got Grapha engraved, which is where you want it, and it is once per turn for the card effect, not for the name effect. So you can play 3 of these in a turn and extend.
Justin, what says that card hits the field? His turns are forever.
And they are really long. Next is one of the other draw engine cards, which is 3 Dark World Dealings. Each player draws a card and discards a card. For an opponent, more often than not, this card hurts them because they lose a card, and sometimes it helps them, sometimes it hurts them. But if you play 3 of them, it really hurts, and there's so many other cards that you can choose what you want to get rid of out of their hand. Like, this is just, it's a great card. And it really helps you because it discards cards out of your hand. Next, the most expensive card in this deck, Into the Void. I run 3 of them. Whew. This is the ultimate. These are really pricey cards, and I have 3 of them. And it's great, because if you have 3 cards in your hand, including itself, so if you have 2 other cards at Into the Void, you can play Into the Void, draw a card, and at the end of your turn, what makes it so good is you discard your hand. If you have all Dark World monsters, you just went crazy. If you have Snow and a Brow, Snow and Brow's effects just went off. So Into the Void is an excellent card. And these are the ultimates. Like, I love it. It's so cool that I have 3 of them.
It only has 1 printing, doesn't it?
It has 3 now. It was just released in Battle of Legends. Next up, the meanest card in this deck, which is Dragged Down into the Grave. I run 3.
You guys want to talk about expensive cards? I'm on TGC Player.
How much is it going for right now?
Into the Void is going for $23 right now.
Yeah, it's a pricey card.
Yeah. It's kind of... Whew. Whew, it's like... It's beating Invocation.
Yeah, I mean, this is the ultimate rare, too, so... It's a pricey card. Then Drag Down into the Grave. You each reveal your hand and choose a card out of it. Now, if you play this card right, you are going to pick a card out of their hand, and you get to get rid of something they don't want to lose. But they have to get rid of one of your Dark World monsters. You control the board at that point, and it really helps with a card that we're going to get into later, Drag Down to the Grave at 3, and then you each get to draw a card. So you're choosing the cards you want to make them get rid of. I always pick Terror Top when I went first against Zoodiac, because it just kind of hurt that play. You know, you can choose and pick.
But there's no Terror Top engines anymore.
Thank Jesus. Next, for the continuation of the draw engine, 2 Allure of Darkness. There's a lot of draw spells in this deck, and Allure of Darkness is no exception. I only play this card if I have Beige or Trance Archfiend in hand. Beige, Lucent, and Trance. If I don't have them, this card remains in my hand. I'll discard it with Into the Void, or with, like, Dark World Dealings, things like that. So Allure of Darkness is good as a 2 of. I don't want it as a 3 of. Some people, like, turbo it because there's so many darks, but I don't like that version of turbo.
It just allows you to pull through your deck so fast, and at times you don't want that with this deck.
Yeah. You want to choose your extensions well. And it's really easy to overextend with this deck. Next, my 1-ofs, Upstart Goblin and One Day of Peace. This is it for my draw cards, I swear. I don't have any more. Upstart Goblin, you don't mind them having life points because you're going to beat through them, and I'll show you why in a little bit. One Day of Peace allows you to protect yourself. If you go first, you don't allow them to attack you first turn. You don't take damage. It's a great protection spell, and each player draws a card. And you don't care that your opponent draws cards because you play 3 Drag Down to the Graves. You're going to mess them up anyway. Okay, we are out of the draw cards. Now we're into Searchers. Foolish Burial, Terraforming. That's it. Foolish Burial to always hit Fiendish Rhino Warrior every single time. Terraforming because you want to see Gates of the Dark World, but you don't. You have so many ways to search it with Snow that you don't need to run 3 of this. Running 3 of this clogs up the deck. And my last spell card, Gateway to the Dark World. It's just a free special summon and allows you for some extensions, but why I like it in this deck, one of, is because it's quick play and you can do it during your opponent's turn to pull Grapha. Really agitates people, puts a 3k, 2700 attack point monster on the field. Typically you'll have your field spell, so it's a 3k beater on the field. So you're going to know that we're now 3 cards short of a full deck. So I run a weird trap lineup. First, I run Skill Drain, because your effects pop from hand. Cripples decks. This card is great against Zoo. I've actually beaten a Zoo player with this deck because of Skill Drain. It neutered them. They had nothing that they could do. It crippled their monster effects, and it pairs really well with the next 2 cards, which I'll pair together because they're great. Full Force Virus, Eradicator Epidemic Virus. This destroys monsters with less than 1500 defense points, which a lot of monsters, especially Zoo, are neutered by this. This hurts. An Eradicator Epidemic Virus takes out almost 95% of the time you choose spells. The only time I use this card against traps is Paleozoic. It's the only time. If this card was at 3, I would run 3 of it. That's how good this card is. I would take out Foolish Burial and I would take out Gateway to Dark World immediately. That's how good this trap is. That is the main deck. We are done in the main deck for Dark Worlds. It is exactly 40 cards. So, next up is the extra deck.
So a lot of us guys here at Unique Zine, we really help each other out with our decks. Try to make sure that we're competitive as much as what we can be. So a lot of these decks that you see will normally run about 40. I think we only have a couple that run a little bit above 40.
My Metal Foes Invoked is 44.
And I believe my Fluffles is at 45 right now. But like we said before, that's a work in progress.
We try to show you guys the finished variants of these decks. Yeah. Dark World, I've had this deck for a long time.
Yeah, that's the first deck you ever played against me.
Oh yeah,
it's Dark Worlds.
Yeah, Dark World's pretty great.
Yeah, but yeah, if you guys want us to do a certain deck profile, or want us to do a deck builder of a certain of a certain deck, guys, just comment, send us a message, let us know, because we want to be able to deliver you guys that content that you guys are wanting to see.
Okay, so we're going to jump into the extra deck now. You saw that I have 2 Malefic Stardust Dragons, which means I have to run 2 Stardust Dragons. This clogs up the extra deck a little bit, but it doesn't really matter because having this gives you easy to summon rank 8s. And it's so good. So having the 2 Stardust, never Synchro Summon.
And it's Stardust.
You never use it. I mean, you don't have any tuners in the deck. Like, it's for that. So I have 3 cards, one of which is completely for fun, and the other 2 are more competitive. Only one of them is really competitive. The other 2 are just kind of generic rank 8s, honestly. Number 88, Gimmick Puppet of Leo. If you play this, you can just wait and let your opponent die slowly. It's really fun. I've never actually pulled it off, but it's a really fun card to play. I did that upside down. Sorry, I'm OCD. Next is Alcine, the Sylvan High Protector. I've never used it. I've never gone into it. It's just there. I have gone into him. Heretic Sun Dragon, Overlord of Heliopolis.
Awesome card.
Non-targeting.
Yes.
That's important.
Yes.
And it's super generic. It's a 3,000 attack point monster. It's just really good. It's here more for like late game if you're running out of materials or you need to get over something that can't be targeted. This is where you hit. Next up is number 22, Zombie Stein. Zombie Stein is just a big body. It's point-wise the strongest attack point exceeds monster in this deck. It's really strong, but I never really use it for its effects. I mean, it's got a really strong effect. It negates effects, turns it to defense position, but it turns itself to defense position too, which is kind of like double-edged sword. Lancelot negates the first spell card each turn. Really busted. Can attack directly. Its problem is that it's really weak, and when it attacks directly, it destroys a card. Like, it's pretty mean. And then lastly, for the rank 8s, number 40, Gimmick Puppet of Strings. Strings is the first one I go into every single time I can Exceed Summon because I run 2 number 84 Pain Gainer. Its effect is irrelevant because you use it to get into 2 number 77, the 7 Sins. This will banish all special summon monsters. Every turn you take off 2, and it banishes everything. But you get to take one of those cards and add it to it as material. And when it would be destroyed, you can detach 1 to protect it. This card is just rude. They set up a board, you nuke it. And they're not destroyed, they are banished. How much fun is this thing to get over?
It's not very fun. Saying that with the 7 Sins, though, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Because if you go against a deck that is, wants you to banish their cards, and just trying to get over that, it's not good.
The problem is that so many decks special summon, and there's only a handful of cards that actually work around the banishing mechanic. And the only one that's really competitive is Tyranno Infinity and the Dinos, and that's it. Everything else, it's a big beater. You aren't going to destroy it, and it banishes all of your cards.
Does it target?
Does not. It banishes them. So even if it doesn't target, it banishes all special. It banishes all special summon monsters.
Ooh.
It does not target. It is just a big, rude a-hole.
For you guys out there that want to be jerks to your friends, 7 Sins all the way.
Pick up Dark World. Pick up 7 Sins. You will have all of your friends abandon you. It's like playing Monopoly. I think that's a good reference.
That is a good reference.
All right. But that is my Dark World deck profile. I recommend picking it up. It's a lot of fun, especially if you just want to torture your friends. So, I am Patrick. I'm glad you guys checked this out. Give us a like, a comment, a subscribe. Keep it respectful in the comment section. Please let us know what you like, and we'll see you guys next time. Later.